And he religious like that too. So that's what made I was like, that's what, off top. I was like, Coach Mosley, that's the nigga.
Y'all ready?
I am ready whenever y'all are.
All right. Welcome to a bonus edition of Technical Foul, the sports podcast you never knew you needed.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. I'm happy y'all here on another day with us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It ain't the same day that we always hear. It's another day. Hello.
I'm the RJ.
Only known as
The RJ.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door. You know, holding it down for all the women who love sports.
And it's your boy K Harris, the gentleman.
The gentleman.
The everyday gentleman.
24/7.
Well, better known as K Diddy.
Take that. Now, you might be wondering, what y'all doing here? This ain't the normal time we supposed to be hearing from y'all, and you were right. But we just finished watching Last Chance U, the basketball season, so we had to make a podcast about it because Last Chance U is just it's entertaining TV, y'all. It's really entertaining TV.
It is.
Definitely.
So before we even start talking about it, because I saw Eric give the little watched it, okay, somewhat. Did everybody watch?
It's made through 6.5 episodes. So I watched most of it.
Okay.
I watched the whole thing.
Like I was halfway.
Yeah, I watched it all too.
Okay.
The last episode, yeah. You had to get to the last episode here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get to that last episode.
Like, are you okay?
Don't worry about spoilers though. Like y'all can.
Okay, I was gonna say we talk about everything. Is everybody on the take? Okay, so we just have a conversation about it. So if you have not yet seen Last Chance U, the basketball season, and you want to be completely surprised when you watch it, turn this off now.
Spoiler alert.
Like I'm telling you now, because don't get mad at us when you be sitting there like, oh, why'd you tell us how it ended? Because I might start with the ending at the beginning. I don't know where this conversation is going to go. Okay. So again, if you want to watch it all spoiler free, this is your chance to turn back.
You have been warned.
Right. Or if you're like Eric and you like, I don't really care about spoilers. I just want to see if it sounds entertaining enough for me to watch. Continue on with this. Those who have seen it, come on, let's go through this journey. So the basketball season, Last Chance U, they are at East Los Angeles College during the 2020 basketball season, ELAC, as they call themselves, which I'd be like, that don't sound great. ELAC.
The commentary kept trying to make arena a thing. It's like
right, like no man.
Hey, he was.
I was just like, who are you broadcasting to? It was like 6 people on the stands.
He was giving it his all though. He was going.
He was
like that's why I was like he was really good.
I mean, I would take him on TNT broadcast over Marv Albert. I know that much.
He was cold.
At least he watching the game and shit.
He knows all the players.
Right. He knew all the players, and that's at the JUCO level. That's something interesting. Like when they said
some
that,
African names, I was like, oh
man. When he was like, there's 3 A's of JUCO. You got academics. They're probably not too hot at the academics. You got the athletics. They here just to try to get somewhere else. And then you got a-holes because they all got something going on with them, which is why they're here.
Yeah.
That's why they're here. Which leads me, I just need to say real quick, Joe Hampton.
Man, boy, I really pray for him for real.
Man,
I was just like, yo, that man done been through some shit, yo.
He put himself through some shit. He ain't been through.
Okay, I give you that.
He is completely the reason for all of his trouble.
I give you that,
except for the injuries. Like that's the only thing that was.
I give you that.
And even that was kind of like I thought he was big as hell. Like more than likely, if he was in shape, his knees would have held up a little bit better. He was carrying too much weight.
But you could tell he's nice. You could tell Joe's nice.
Talented as hell.
Yeah, he hella talented.
He said he was a hooper, not a basketball player.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. And I was like, there is. Like that's fair. There's truly a difference between being a hooper and just being a basketball player. But no, Joe had some challenges, and I was sitting there like I was texting these dudes like Joe's a terrible teammate, fam. Like he'd be on the bench. He'd be on the bench talking about his teammates.
Bro,
like,
he bring down
big shit in their face. Man, bitch ass nigga, sit down. Like, damn. Whole ass nigga can't even get a bucket. Fuck off, nigga.
Like this nigga garbage. How you starting over me?
Like, oh man, coach.
It is
they
my
not giving me
fault.
the ball. Give me the ball. We gonna win.
Look what happened when y'all stopped giving me the ball.
And then when he in the game and he not getting the ball, I'm a foul out on purpose. When he said that, I was like, this.
Yeah, I was like, this nigga here, bro.
This nigga said, I'm gonna foul out. I don't want to play. I'm
I
gonna
don't
just
even want to
foul
play
out.
no more. He go to the
Joe,
locker room and pout a little bit.
He was their emotional spark though. Like he literally, like he had so much gravity about him for that team. Like not just because they respected his talent. Everybody knows
I was gonna say because the most talented.
He had that pedigree. Yeah.
But he came with the world and all the anger that it came with. From like 1 second to the next, he's smiling and chit-chatting with Malik for 1 second, and the next second he blowing up on a coach on the sideline. Like, dog.
Yeah.
It was like the swings were really, really great. And that's one thing I think that's different too with basketball over football. Like you're seeing them like a lot closer because there's no helmets, there's no pads, there's no nothing.
And I mean, I guess that's the thing, like for me with the way that they coached them, it's like, you know, there was one point where somebody was like, we need you to be a little bit less emotionally unstable. It's like, y'all need to get him a shrink. Like he needs a psychiatrist. Like that's not just like something that he can control. It's not just something he can turn on and off. Like, oh, I'm gonna not be crazy today. Like, no, he needs like you need to get him some help. Like it's not about like his personal accountability. Like, yeah, that's part of it, but like clearly there's something deeper with him that's an issue. Like he has anger management issues.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like he can't just like be better about it. Like you need to help him be better about it.
For sure.
And that's one thing, like by the end of it, when he did like turn his attitude around a bit at the end where he was becoming more of a team guy. And he was telling Coach Mosley, like, I just needed somebody to not give up on me. And I was sitting there like, dang, like this is why I'm not in that job. Cause I don't know if I got the patience to.
And that's what's the main thing about it. Like even the assistant coaches, like they put in so much time and work just off the court and on the court with these cats. Like and that goes that's all levels, bro. Like
no money.
Yeah.
None.
No money.
Like dog, every single level you catch that. Like when me and Isaiah was coaching, like we was over there coaching those kids and from the
shout out to the Elements podcast.
There you go, boss.
But when me and him was coaching basketball, it's kind of the same thing. We was down there helping these kids, and they had some crazy talent. We came in, I believe, second, or we won the conference, but then we came in second in the tournament, I think, second or third. And but these kids had crazy talent. But there was one kid that, I mean, the dude he's like Joe, the most talented cat on our team, easy money, like easily. And he had like schools wanted to look at him, but they knew about his attitude. Like he was wanting to go to Vince to hoop for them or stuff like that, like Hamilton. But his attitude was an issue, and people knew about it. So that kind of killed his rep and stuff like that. And then eventually, he didn't even finish the season with us because we're like, bro, your gravitas is just killing the team vibe. And that's I dang near want to say Mosley wanted to get to that point, but he allowed him to kind of step away. And he's like, look, that's how he is. Let him go ahead and yell at the locker for a minute. Punch the sink, and then somebody will holler at him for a hot second, and then he'll come back and he'll be fine. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and it helps to have them different coaches. Like it was what's his name? Like was it Ken?
Coach Rob?
Coach Ken? Coach Ken?
Coach
Ken. Yeah, and who came in there like when he was about to really lose, and he was like just talking to him like, look, dude.
Yeah, they don't do that.
You ain't listening to what I'm saying right now. Just hold on for a second and come back around. Like having those different voices help, which is why what's the point guard? Deshaun Highland. Yeah. When he was like Deshaun. Where he's like, you need to have a voice too that's also like on the team level. Like it's important to have that level. And talking about therapy, that young man needed it too. Yeah, because dealing with your dad's death and then a year later your mom passes away from cancer, who you were really, really close to. And then you are left the house and now you have to be an adult out of like, just like a flip of the switch. Like you are an adult and deal with it. And they said he just came back to hoop like very shortly thereafter, which I get can be an escape. But at the same time, it's like, he has some things he needs to deal with.
You know, him losing that scholarship because of the AD change was a humongous. Like when he was telling the story about that, he had what was he at? Oklahoma State?
UTEP. Not even close, right?
So when he did it as a walk-on, he busted his ass because they was going to offer him. They didn't offer him because they didn't have enough. He said he was going to do it as a walk-on. They ended up trying to offer him a scholarship, but they ended up changing the whole front office from the AD to the coaches and everything. So everybody that wanted him to actually play for the school wasn't there no more. And the AD was like, yeah, nah, we ain't finna give you the scholarship, even though they signed off on it. So now his whole life is flipped upside down instantly.
Yeah.
Like, what am I finna do, bro? Like, I worked my ass off to get here with no money, used all my money to get here. My time, my effort, my sweat, my blood, and I made it. You told me I was good to tell me, yeah, nah, this ain't gonna work out. Find somewhere else. Out the blue. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with, bro.
NCAA is one of the most corrupt organizations. Like, it does not benefit the student athlete for the most part. Like, it comes down to dollars and cents, and it's just not fair. Like, the fact that somebody can promise you something, like their kids when it's, like they shouldn't get paid, and we're doing this for the betterment of their future, but like their employees, when it comes down to like monetary decisions, it's like, well, we ain't got the dollars for it, or we need to spend this money elsewhere, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's why Coach Mosley is like a really big part of, I guess you want to say, the process, because you need
the program too.
Yeah. Well, I'm just speaking in general for like players who feel like they're lost, but like players, individuals, like coaches like Coach Mosley are important in that stepping stone to get people kind of back, because they're not only are they still trying to hone their basketball ability, but they're kind of rebuilding folks at the same time.
That's why I brought up the program, because it's like without Coach Mosley, like ELAC isn't ELAC. Like one, he has that personal connection because he used to hoop for ELAC when he was younger, which was interesting. Like, oh, okay, like you was one of the coldest, the coldest with ELAC back in the day, and now you came back. Like, he actually looks at it as a mission. Like, there's not many JUCO coaches where it's like, no, this actually is perfect for me. I'm able to minister. I'm able to be with my family. I don't have aspirations of coaching elsewhere because this allows me to be home and also allows me to help people. Like, this is my calling. This is my, like, I was like, he really means that.
Yeah.
Like, he really means that. Like, he could have probably had other coaching. Like he mentioned, I had other offers, but I'm choosing to be here. And that's commendable. Like, he's an interesting coach. Like, what did you think of him as a coach?
He got Tourette's, bro.
That man. He didn't cuss.
He didn't, but he amped himself.
Every
now and then he hit for niggas. Every now and then, because he get that.
Yeah, he was listening.
He said "nigga" in hell. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't know where the line is for what's a cuss word and what isn't. But
hey, nigga float. Hey, as somebody who don't cuss out, nigga float. You earned that.
Plenty of niggas in this,
and we don't have to get into it now. But I just don't understand, like, why like certain words are bad, but if you replace it in the same context with a different word, it's not bad. Like, it means the same thing.
Hey, words mean things.
Functionally, like,
that's why so you can communicate without saying those words. Exactly. That's how I feel about it. Like, I don't have to say the words. So I can get my point across using other words. So,
but you essentially, like, it's the same thing. If you like, I don't know.
So then, if you understand what I'm saying, then why
it's a mental jiu-jitsu. Like,
hey, putting the cuss word in there just puts some pizzazz on what I'm trying to say.
Right, like, emphasis on it, put some flair.
Yeah, just put
color commentary.
Some all caps on that shit.
but if you screaming at me, you stupid bloodsucker, it's like I'm gonna still take offense to that. Like, whether I'm just like, I don't remember what word. It was some word that he used, and the dudes on the sideline was like, he wanted to call him a nigga. Like, like, it's the same thing. Like, you just used a different word. I'm gonna still take offense because that's what you meant.
You son of a biscuit eating bulldog.
Like when Hulk Hogan used brother. Like, I know what you mean.
Right. Exactly. But no, it's
watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth.
It was really good for me to actually watch him, because like I said, him and Coach Mosley and Coach Rob, even though he's preaching to the boys, and like I said, felt like he had Tourette's at times, because he would just amp himself up into something. Like,
he was just doing that one prayer, and he just ended it. He's like, "Get out of here, spirit! Get out of my locker room!"
Yeah,
you were there like
spirit of selfishness. I was like, "Hey, I fucked with it. Because I got it. I wholeheartedly got it."
Malik had me cracking up. That dude was sitting there like he caught the spirit. Like, I was like, boy.
Like, the way that the team kind of reacted to him, like when he would like really go off, like that. I think it was the first episode, he like ran up the wall and like tried to block it. Like, I wonder how much of that. Like, I'm sure that like he's like that, but I wonder if it's like wrestling where he turned up for the cameras a little bit. Like, he kind of amped it up a little bit because sometimes we're just like, dude, calm down. Like
it seemed like it was him based on how they reacted to him.
Right. I mean, but like there was some like when he shut, I think it was like right before the playoffs where he shut like practice down early and like the dudes was just like and they just laughed. It was like they didn't like it wasn't. It was just like dude just wanted to get out. Coach, they did not. He just wanted to get out of practice early, and then he said it the next day. Like, yeah, I was done anyway. Like, I just felt like that was a good way to end it. Like,
but he got his point across still. He still got his point across.
Yeah,
because they still reacted the way he thought so.
Yeah, it's like they didn't believe him. They tried to walk back out with other balls. Like, give me that ball, yo! No, you ain't shooting nothing. Nobody shooting nothing.
My man was like, damn.
I was like, it's like when Diddy closed the studio. You ain't.
That's exactly what I thought about.
Right now.
Like, damn. No, go home. Studio. It's just like that. Smacking the wall. It's just like that. Well, you know, it's true. It is just like that. Like you gone. Then
I did.
I like, but damn, bro. Like he start amping himself up more. Just start yelling. Just start following me, bro. Like yelling. Oh, here he come. I definitely been a lot like, here he come, bro.
Who was your favorite player out of everyone?
Before we move on to play, like to Camille's point about like the different voices of the coaches, like I felt like that was kind of like his weak spot where like he only had like one method. Like it was just scream at him, like push, grind. It's like some people respond to that, some people don't. So it's like, you know, you trying to grind the fuck out of Malik, like he doesn't respond to that type of stuff. Like he shut down like when you go after him and he tried to like talk back, and it's like sometimes you gotta like some people you gotta like nudge a little bit, some people you gotta smack on the ass, some people you gotta kick in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it just felt like he only grinded, and it's like that wears down. I wonder if that was like part of the reason why he struggled in the playoffs, because it's like by the end of the year, like you emotionally spent, like you just like
tired of him.
Like when there is a time where like people just gotta like fight through and like be perfect and all that stuff, like if they've heard the same message for 9 months, it's like you just start tuning people out at a certain point. So like I wonder if he needs to kind of fix, I think we lost Camille, but I wonder if at a point like he kind of needs to figure out like, okay, which players responded to what things and at what times.
I mean, I feel like he kind of, and maybe because him and Deshaun's relationship is a little different than the rest of the players, because he promised his mom that he would take care of him. So,
plus I think he sees a lot of himself in Deshaun. Like I think that was the difference there.
But I mean, it seems like he was able to kind of flip the switch with him because he knew his personality and stuff like that. Like he'll still come over and talk to him to the side, like, "Hey, listen, I need you. Stop being that way. Don't be an asshole to everybody. Just go by to the guys, tell them what you need, like talk to them. I need you to be that voice." Well, yeah, but someone said like, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you. The way you do it is different the way than he do it. And I
wonder if like that is like that little bit that you just said, like I wonder if that's like the crux of like why it's so difficult to coach on a junior college level, because at the end of the day, like everybody is there to go somewhere else. Like this isn't the ending point for anybody. Like nobody wants to just be, you know, do their 2 years at JUCO and it's like, okay, my basketball career is over. Like this is not the end point for anybody. So like there is that level of selfishness that everybody has to have, because you need to be looking out for yourself, but like trying to get them to buy into a team kind of thing. Because like everybody, like whenever anybody got frustrated on the show, it felt like it was like, I'm not doing wrong. Like everybody else is doing wrong. It's like trying to get them to learn, like, as a collective, like you need, like if everybody's trying to get to where they need to go, like we got to be pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, it's even like I forget who it was when he was like, "It's not my fault. Like it was a bad pass. Well, everybody else run but you."
Yep.
Yeah.
Like everybody else run.
Because it ain't his fault. It was Malik.
Yeah.
It was Malik.
And then he was sitting there.
KJ ain't do nothing wrong. That kid was just happy. Like,
phenomenal, bro.
KJ just had bad grades. That's the only reason he was there. But to Ken's point, you were talking about favorite. Who was your favorite player? Why don't you start with your fave?
Muhammad.
Oh, Malik.
Yeah,
I like Malik a lot.
Cause I was like, dog, if he would have just like focused a little bit more,
I can see the
and just got that
bro.
dogged, man, dude to be cold.
Like that rangy, athletic, big, throwing shit off the backboard, rebounding, like changing the defense and the game.
He had no hands.
Like, bruh.
Zero hands, bro.
He caught his fair share of lobs, though. He had his fair share of lobs, or putbacks.
I was like, KJ was the one going up for it.
Yeah, KJ off vert just bamming on me. I'm like, dog, this how you giving it up? It was like the first episode. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Right. I was
you can just tell, like, athletically, he was on a different level from everybody else.
Just a monster. They just dunk on him. Rest of the game, he's just
like,
dunked on that.
Say less.
Okay.
I was like, damn, well, yeah, my nigga, just dunk on him then.
Like I was trying to show finesse, but if that's what you asking me to do, I can deliver on that. I think mine was actually Deshaun.
Deshaun.
The story, I just couldn't, like, his story was just so interesting, where I'm like, this kid, like, to lose both of your parents, and then he had the whole race thing where he was like, I didn't even know exactly who I was exactly, because it's like my mom was this white woman, but like my dad was black, but I'm around other black people, like trying to find who he was. And that was interesting to me. And then the whole girlfriend dynamic, where I forget, it was the coach who came to scout him, and they was like, well, you think he'll be all right in Utah?
Mark Madsen, actually, like from the Lakers.
Yeah, and he's like, you think he'd be all right? Like, you know, it's no women up there. And the coach was like, nah, he's faithful to his girl. And the coach was like, is he really though? And he's like, no, like,
yeah.
I mean, it's a valid question. It's a valid question.
No,
like,
it is a valid question.
It is, yeah.
Like, being that young and you about to get put in a situation where you're like big man on campus, there's a lot of different attention that comes at you. Like, again, I went to Marquette. I saw what the basketball players got thrown at them, and even the bench warmers. It was just the fact that, like, they were
you got the warm up on.
Like,
you got the national spotlight.
So it's like, hey,
they have a catcher's mitt ready.
Listen,
the Velcro mitt.
I ain't dropping none of these.
Sticking, right? Got another one.
But Deshaun really was sitting there like, no, I'm good on that. Like, he, like, his trauma made him be built a little bit differently in the situation, which was so fascinating to me. And then seeing his game, and when they pointed out that as a shooting guard, when your shot is off, like you question who you are. And I was thinking, like, I hope this does not trigger him, because he's already dealing with his off court stuff that he hasn't ever really dealt with. And now the thing that he comes to for his, like, sanity on court isn't working out right now. Like, please do not snap Deshaun. And he had his moments where he came close, but he never all the way boiled over. And I was just like, I hope this kid makes it. Like, I hope this kid makes it.
He'll cuss the coach out quick. Don't give a fuck.
And the refs.
Fuck.
Okay, bro. Oh, ass nigga, man, who you talking to? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, bro, you cannot say that to the ref. Why are you talking to the coach like this? Hey, he'll be all right. I'm like, dog, there's
a certain level of lack of impulse control, like with a lot of them. It was just like,
oh yeah,
there's a time and place for everything. Like, y'all need to.
Like, you really couldn't held that in at all, bro. Like, none. And for some people, no. For some people, they really don't have that much control. Like, not on a Tourette's thing, but more so like some people just don't have the ability to compose themselves in a situation where they're either in high stress or just having big issues. Like, they explode, and that's the only way they know how to react to it, is by in the moment. Let me just react in the moment. So he's with more, because he has his priorities. It seems like he has his priorities straight, because he's dealt with so much. That's why he's so faithful to his girl. Like, I can't lose her. I don't lost everybody else. Like, she's not going nowhere. Anything I do and my come up is going to be with her, because literally she's all I got left. So I can see that. I can understand that. And it seemed like he got his priorities more in order. So I'm hoping that with maturity comes more clarity and he'll be straight. But
who was your favorite player, Tim?
Honestly, it was between Malik and Joe.
I was gonna say, on court, I feel like Joe's game was something that you'd appreciate.
Joe was really nice, man. Like,
with the pro post moves.
He did lie about the fouls, but he did. I mean, he pushed me. I'm like, bro, Malik literally went vert, bro. I rewound it just to see. I just hit rewind real quick. Let me find out if he touched him. Like, no, bro. He went straight up, threw that bitch. You came back down. You caught it. He threw that bitch again. Hey, bro, you see him push me? I'm like, he didn't push you, bro. like he was one of the cats where he was making excuses when it didn't fall. Like, nah. But I also like just him as a person, because I could see my brother in him too. Okay. So I was like, even though he's had his own personal demons and he's dealt with his things, and a lot of his issues are himself, I can see that at the same time he wants to genuinely be a good dude. Like, it's not he wants to be an asshole constantly. Like, he's trying to work on himself, but you can tell he wants to be a better person. It's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a minute for him to get there. So that's why I'll say Joe. Joe.
See, one of the things that I was like most not intrigued but shocked me so much is that, like, they literally like had to get it like from the mud. Like, when it was like, three of them was living in a 1 bedroom. Like Cats like was out here like
Yeah.
struggling, and still trying to, still doing schoolwork, still trying to hoop so they can go to another level. It, like I couldn't even imagine having like all that stress on top of everything else you deal with in life too.
That's just one school.
Like,
Yeah.
just to bring it locally, like right, like just to bring it locally, like think of it as MATC, like right, like it's not. There's no dorms, there's no meal plan. Like, it's literally like we have a school for you, y'all. How whatever else you got to do, figure it out. Like, and they had a different level, right? They had a different level of handholding because like they have advisors and they have all these things that are like kind of set up to really help them. But at the same time, like all that stuff outside of school, like figure it out.
Yeah, that's like when they said, I think it was one of the earlier episodes where I think it was Coach Mosley talking, and he was like, most kids have multiple doors, that they can go through. So the thing is with these kids, like if they only have one door, and if they make a mistake, then that one door is closed. So now what are the options that they have to get somewhere new? And I was like, that's very it's very true. E, who was your favorite player?
Didn't really gravitate to any of the kids. So to be honest, like, I guess KJ.
I knew
he was chill. KJ. Like, I mean, like I can get it. Like his was kind of like a lack. I don't want to say aptitude, but like it was just like he struggled with school, and that's why he's there. Like it wasn't because of like anything that he did poorly or poor decision making, or I mean, like Deshaun wasn't either. Although he kind of had anger management issues, but understandably, but still. So yeah, I guess KJ. My favorite character, I guess, was Coach Rob. Like.
Coach Rob was,
although he like every time I saw him, like it took like 2 or 3 episodes, but I was like, that's Key and Peele. Like he looked like Key and Peele.
He actually reminds me of like my stepdad's side. He reminds me of them folks. But no, he was
like I'm glad that they finally explained like his story because like it was on the earlier episodes and he had the BMW. I'm like,
I was like, he out here. Yeah, I'm here. What's going on?
Like, either you slanging something or you got a whole backstory. But like, yeah, so
it was a backstory. Luckily.
Right. It was kind of messed up though, and it was kind of similar to Deshaun's story, where it's kind of like you get caught in a wash, like something happens above your head, and like you are the one that bears the brunt of, the repercussions from it, and then you kind of left scrambling.
And that's the same thing, like, for sure. Coach Ken and his story about how he became paralyzed, when they finally explained how he ended up in that wheelchair, like you just playing around. Is it
bad that I just assumed he got shot?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's typically the story. Like, you see a black dude that's paralyzed, it's like, oh, you must have got shot.
God,
like, and it was nothing like that at all. He was
wrestling.
He was a hooper wrestling with his teammate who happened to be a big dude. He got landed on wrong, paralyzed. Like, could you like we all have wrestled at some point. No matter even if
like I've seen Camille get put in the finger for.
Man, listen.
And that's not a euphemism. Like I literally saw her put it in the finger.
Like literally. But I almost got put in one the other week. Like I was like, please no, stop.
I tap.
But that's wild, and to see his journey of finding basketball again through a new lens was really cool, and how he's like a top-notch recruiter because he just has relationships. Like he's just a people person in that way, which I was like, I'm glad to see that wasn't the end of the road for him, and he actually decided to like move past that and do something with it.
Family too, shout out to them too, because it's a nice that's a healthy task to take on when you have to care for one, and then he's as active as he is.
Like he always at games. Like you saw him at high school games. You saw him on the blacktop. Like obviously he's at all games. Of the ELAC games. Like
everywhere.
Man gets around.
And then at the last second, coach was like, yeah, oh damn, I ain't even think about recruiting all year. Oh yeah, by the way, we got like these 5 prospects coming in. They the coldest motherfuckers in JUCO. And the old boy off the street, I seen him in the N1 mixtape tour. They brought that shit back just for my mans because he that cold, bro. He coming in next year too. But hey, my man's kind of wild. He kind of hot. So you may need to, a couple straight jacks, some something, bro. But he cold.
One thing that was interesting too, because I was just watching this as TV, like just as content. Like I wasn't necessarily thinking of timelines. So when Kobe died in the documentary, I was like, oh shoot, this is last year.
Yeah.
And for some reason, when I heard that, it still didn't like click to me to be like, oh, COVID is coming. Like I was just watching it like, oh,
until it happened and shit. I was like, wait, damn.
When they
that shit
fam, when they got to the end, I didn't think about it until it got brought up. And then I was like, they better not. COVID better not.
When they announced the Big Ten ones, I was like, yeah, they're not gonna make it, bro. I was like, because that's when everybody starts shutting down. When the college sport, like NBA shut down, then the college sports, they canceled the tournament. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it, boss.
No.
So I got 2 points with that before we get to the COVID part. I want to go back to Kobe real quick because when Kobe's death happened, we had to, react to it in our own way. Like our actual Kobe episode might be one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done because it wasn't really like we didn't have a rundown really, like we had an idea of what we wanted to do, but we didn't, it was just like we are working through this in live time and we're older than them. Like to think about how his death affected the younger dudes who like are hooping, like I didn't think about that lens as much where it's like this is their like holy grail of basketball.
Like one of them even said like he's been here our entire lives. Like these are 19-year-old kids and he played 20 years in the league. Like it's they've literally only known a world with Kobe Bryant, NBA superstar, and they're basketball players.
Like the Brown babies.
Yeah, like it hits different. And I was like, that's something I need to like keep in mind when even having debates with certain people, because it's like your frame of reference is just a little bit different than what mine is as somebody who's in their early 30s who got to see some other people, but like Kobe's influence and impact, just seeing it again was like,
especially in LA.
Yeah, like legend. And I don't know how that didn't trigger in my head to be like, Camille, they probably won't be able to actually finish because COVID is coming. Like Kobe's death is like the watershed before COVID.
I think probably because we don't know the time frame of JUCO college tournament, so maybe they didn't think like, yo, the tournament week. They keep because the time frame they kept telling us, oh yeah, we know we're like 2 games into the tournament, so we're right there. We're right there.
Like, it was,
like I should have known.
Like for me, it was like trying to figure out the timeline because like I always do that whenever I'm watching something that obviously like happened in the past. Like I'm trying to figure out when exactly it was, and like I saw somebody wearing like Giannis's shoes. I'm like. So that was like the first thing, but I was still like, oh, maybe it was the season before. Like maybe they got him at like the tail end, but like that was the first thing where I was like, and then the Kobe thing, I was like, oh, like then my mind went to Kobe. I was like, oh yeah, no, they're not finishing this season.
So you caught it early, like you was like,
I did
the same.
Like the warning sign, like the first warning sign was, and again, it's shoes. So like obviously I'm gonna have a little bit, but I'm like, I don't think those were out yet.
See, I saw them and I was just like, okay, Giannis is, but I didn't even think like like when they came out, what this mean. It wasn't until I saw the Kobe thing and I was like, oh wait.
Yeah.
And even to that point, like a slight tangent, but like with shoes, like all of them had like like I'm just thinking about like how much money like they have to come out of pocket, and it's like they're not getting scholarships, so like this has to be coming out of pocket, right? And then like when dude cut his finger, it's like they don't have a trainer, like you guys gotta take that shit up and figure it out, you know? And like it's just like the level to which they're like really, and that's a testament to Coach Mosley, but like how they're just like really, holding this thing together on the women of prayer, essentially. Like they had their warm-ups, I was like, those are clean. Like, but again, like buying clothes for 12 to 15 people plus, support staff. Like, shout out to the team manager too. Like that kid, like, got to be there. He don't even have like team managers in general, but it's like you a team manager for a community college, like
resume builder for him, maybe. Like, hey, listen, I was here, bro.
I was manager in high school for the boys varsity team, and it's very unglamorous work. So to do that at a JUCO level, like it's like you just love being around the game, and you just trying to soak that up in any way you can. Like it's opportunity, so you like I'm gonna take it. Like I'm here.
It was actually pretty fun doing it because I wasn't a team manager, but I was like the assistant for our athletic director my senior year of high school. So like her son was trying to go to the Brewers, like he was like a prospect to be drafted. So she was giving me a behind the scenes look at how like the draft process was for players coming out of high school because of her son and stuff like that. But I also was involved in all the other team sports.
Where did you go?
I went to Madison. But the athletic director's son, he was somewhere else. But yeah, it was actually pretty cool. Like seeing how the AD does their job. And it kind of sucks to go back to Last Chance U, the AD decided to cut the funds for the athletic. But granted, that's one of the first things that they usually cut anyways, is the athletics and after school things and stuff like that. But your men's basketball team has been immaculate. But I guess
but I mean, academics should come first, really.
Should reign, yeah.
Even and then it has the whole argument but athletics can work in concert to help boost your.
Yeah, but it seems like they weren't investing in that
at all.
Again,
they was paying students to come to the game dang near. Like please.
They do have to offer extra credit for people to come to games. Like
you can throw a pie in my face.
Pie in the face.
No, I got plans. What you doing? I got plans. I'm like, you ain't doing shit. You should have came to the damn.
His plans was going home and playing the game. He was like, I'd rather do that than sit here at this ELAC game. But they making their way. The whole thing with Coach Mosley is like, I've never been able to win the big game. And they drove that into your head the whole series. So for them to be they went on that crazy win streak, they get to the playoffs and you can see they finally start clicking. They had that little retreat thing in the woods where they had to know each other better and do the skits and all that stuff. And that was one time where I felt Coach Mosley's like religious message actually was it actually hit them in that moment. Like that one, it was received in that one because normally they would be like, man, this dude just talking. But the one time he's not yelling and screaming, and they were out in nature, which I think the nature probably helped, just being somewhere different
and not having internet access. Like you don't have a distraction. Like you're literally locked in. Like
you in nature and whoever you were around.
They had them little rocks, and I was like, okay, I see y'all team building, y'all getting to the next level.
And I think you might have cut out at this point, Camille, but like that was to my point earlier where I was saying he kind of needed a different pitch, essentially. Like he needed to kind of modulate, like don't just always be grinding all the time. Like take a step back, like really do like the team building. Like because like that's what I was thinking of is like you need like they were saying like the only day off they get is Christmas. Like so he has them practicing weights, whatever every day for the entire season. It's like sometimes like a day off does help. Like I get that you're a little bit behind physically, but like giving people time to like even coming back like the day after Kobe died, it's like he's like screaming his head off and it's like these
not trying to hear that.
Traumatized. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying necessarily take it easy on them, but also like understand where they're coming from. Like maybe recognize that their head isn't in it and it's for a legitimate reason. It's not just I mean like granted I think that they all had a lot of stuff going on outside of school. So like it probably was legitimate even if their head wasn't in it earlier, but like it's clear in your face like why they may be a little bit lethargic through this practice.
It reminded me a little bit of hearing the reports after Jason Kidd left the Bucks, where it's like he was able to ride Giannis because like Giannis responded well to that type of coaching. Like you can yell at me, say what you need to. Like I'm hearing you and I'm going to be better. He tried to do that with Jabari Parker, and Jabari was like who do you think you talking to? Like different people respond to different things differently. You can't. The time of a good coach is knowing how far you can press each of your individual players. You need to know their lines and treat them a little bit different. Like you need to coach everybody for sure, hold everybody accountable, but you got to get to them in different ways.
Yeah, but I also look at it as he knows they're only there for one reason. One reason only is to get up out of there. Yeah. So granted, they may not have any off days, but he's making sure that they're productive with the days that he does have them doing something. Either it's going to be school or basketball or whatever you need to do to use them tools to get up out of here. He don't want you to waste a minute trying to figure like doing other things. And
but there's a point of diminishing returns. Like if you just like ride, like yes, you're pushing them, but at the same time, like if they're not mentally like in it, like they're not receiving your message at a certain point.
And that's probably part of all he knows too. Like that's like for Coach Mosley, like to him, that's probably like, this is the best I can do here with this. It reminded me more of like a military style type of boot camp type of thing where it's like, I'm on you, but it's like, you know why I am. Like just trust that I'm doing this from a place of love. Okay. Like I'm missing my family too.
But that's also what abusers say. So it's kind of like, you know, like
people who care about you a lot say it too. So it's kind of
I'm not. I wasn't discounting it. I'm just saying like at the same time you can say like trust me and I have your best interest at heart, but it's like other people say that for nefarious reasons. So like it's not just as easy as I'm looking out for you.
But it seemed like those players actually did trust Coach Mosley, which is a good thing because based on what we saw, it seems like he truly did have their best interest at heart. But when they finally got to the part, I'm not sure if you actually saw it, Eric, where they start talking about COVID coming, and they're like, "Oh well, you know."
Oh, I was like, no,
Yeah.
No, it's about
That's
to
not
end.
it.
It's like,
Like, oh, it's probably gonna be a couple of days. We be cool. Like, no,
I was like, no,
ain't no days, bro.
Been a fucking year.
It's like, oh, probably a couple of weeks. You know, we'd be all right. I'm like, no, we still not all right.
we still
No,
not.
I didn't get to that point, but like there was a time like after Kobe passed, and like I would still see them like just touching each other. I'm like, we got, because like there was a point where like Mosley was giving a speech, and like behind him there was a screen that said February 28th. I'm like, y'all should be starting to like do some deeper cleaning. Like there should be a little bit more.
Nope.
Like we knew about social distancing at that point. Like
They were just telling them wash their hands, and he like,
Yeah.
hey, listen, make sure y'all continue to wash your hands. It wasn't even sanitize it. Just wash your hands. Don't
Wash
be
your
touching
hands.
each other's faces. We touched the ball, but you know, just make sure you keep washing your hands. I'm like, that ain't
Coach
gonna
Rob
work,
got the
boss.
sanitizer already. He's on the sidelines, like,
Yeah. I ain't
Like,
playing
he's
with
still
you
over
niggas.
there, bro. Like, yeah.
like they were in that little ass office with like the academic advisor or whatever. I'm like,
Mhm.
they're like 2 feet. Like I can't even imagine being that close to anybody at this point. Like y'all 2 feet away from each other. Like he leaning all over her desk. Like
Yeah, man. I was
like Coach Rob had said something like, you know, he's like, man, it's looking crazy right now. We might not even be able to be back out here until like May. And I was like, May of what
Yeah.
year?
I was like, no,
Exactly.
next year.
2022.
Next year, for sure.
Right. Like,
this might be a
come on,
good
man.
like next Tech Foul Cinema, but like the day sports stood still or
Yeah,
something
I
like that on
watched it.
HBO Max.
Yeah,
like that's a
it
good
was
Oh,
one.
it's
really
out
good.
there?
Yeah, it's really good.
Mhm.
I didn't watch it. I was like, that's still too recent. I'm I'm a little traumatized still. So I'm just
It was good though.
Yeah, it was.
just wait on now. But like they were the last to get word that their stuff was actually canceled, which
Mhm.
was crazy because like they even loaded up. They're like, we don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, they got
So
on the
just-
bus. On the bus waiting. Like that's what I hurt more. Like, yo,
They was
I'm
about to take
geek.
off. They was
Yeah.
about to pull off.
Like the
Damn.
players were reading, like, are we gonna be playing? We're like, well, they ain't canceled our stuff yet. So they might have been thinking, like, maybe because we JUCO, like, you know, we gonna be able to get this.
There ain't gonna be
through.
that many people. or
Slide that on
something.
in. Nope.
Yeah.
Man, seeing the
Because it's
reactions.
California. Like
Yeah,
they were getting
seeing the
shut down early.
reactions to like not being able to finish the mission, pretty much. Like that's how I looked at it. Like
Yeah.
finish the mission. It
Mhm.
was like, and it's like I know in my heart, like they probably would have won. Like, this probably was the year.
Yeah.
And
But
It really is.
infuriating. Why we gotta be down every half? Why we gotta be losing every game to start the game off, bro? Why gotta
They-
yell at you
they
at
started
halftime every
finish-
game?
they started finishing stronger. Like they would still be lacking in the first half, but they wouldn't be
Every
losing by
game.
the end.
Yeah.
Why I gotta be pissed off the first half? So every game I'm supposed to go in knowing that y'all go piss me off the first half. Y'all fumbling the damn ball, turning the ball over 17 times and shit. You pulling up from nowhere. I don't know where the hell you shot that shit from. You can't block a shot. You can't board. The second half was y'all the all-stars. Y'all just, I'm like, what we
They
gotta
had
do
They
every
were
that-
so
game?
starters.
They had that
Every
secret
game.
stuff.
You could tell by the end of the season, like they started getting to a point where it's like they had to start manufacturing that stuff for like the document, not manufacturing it, but it was like they would show like a bunch of turnovers and then like they would cut to the score and it would be like
They still are.
16 to
They
4,
always
and it's
Yeah.
like okay, like they struggling, but like they still blowing people out, like or like you
Like-
would find like a little rough patch in the second half, but then it'll still be like a 20-point game.
Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of which, that white boy, number 33,
Yo,
like they ass up.
from
He
Hondo,
was like
from-
they ass
from
up.
Rio
Hondo,
Hondo?
that nigga was cooking.
He came up
He
here. I
was
was like, oh,
cooking,
okay, that's a
bro.
nice three. Next thing he was
Yo.
like, oh, yeah, that's another three. I'm like, damn, another three, fast break.
Man.
That's another three, motherfucker. Dunk. I'm like, okay, white boy,
He
you moving.
was
He ain't
cooking,
stopped.
dude.
Then
So,
that
we
second
done
half,
with that. We done with
Deshaun
that.
came out like, hey,
Uh-uh,
He
That
had
was
ain't none of
33
that.
already.
Ain't none of that.
right. It's too late
matched
to
his
start
jersey.
talking crazy now. Hey, that 30 you had in the first half, that's over, fam.
It's over. Not
30?
anymore.
I'm like, bro, 30. Like, dog.
Yeah, I was watching. I was like, "Yo, this white boy cooking,
He
bro."
was cooking this. Throwing alley oops and shit.
I was like, "Yeah, dude, doing behind the back passes." I was like, "Damn."
Fast break, pull up, Coach Carter 3. I'm like, nah, bro, nah.
Coach Carter 3.
Like I refuse to believe that JUCO has like always been at this level of like athleticism and shooting and you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you would think like the JUCO level is like a little bit a step down, but it's like these dudes
Everybody can
are-
shoot now.
people can
Yeah.
shoot, people
Yeah.
can like throwing lobs every which way, like
It kind of makes sense to me
basketball
where
is
it's like,
evolving.
basketball is very much so evolving, but like if you think about some of the coldest, like just think of your own personal life and think about some of the coldest hoopers you knew.
Yeah.
Like the coldest hoopers that I knew did not do well at school. Like they just for whatever the reason was, like they would be like I'm really just here to hoop. I don't really care about what else you got going on. So to me, it kind of made sense. Like at this level, you're gonna see a lot of dudes with raw talent who can just do stuff because they
like
weren't able to get to that next
can't come out the stands and drop 30, don't have to stretch. Like it's the naturally talented people that just
get a couple shots
the rest of their life. Yeah.
I'm good. Like damn, 10 for 10 from 3, my guy.
10 for 10. One thing that stood out to me too with this documentary was the music. Like I was like the music was popping, and they had a lot of what I want to call it, like old music that ended up getting sampled at some point, and they're mixed in with like hip hop. Like when I heard "Everybody Loves the Sunshine," I was sitting there like, my life, my life, my life.
I love it. That's my shit.
Like that's even when they had the next episode, the song that was sampled in the next episode, I think it's called "The Edge," and I was like, oh shoot, like y'all got some Cool in the Gang, y'all got some Isleys, y'all got some.
Yeah, but when he played the Isleys,
Party
Footsteps in the Dark. I was like, okay, but at the same time, Ice Cube had sampled it for "Today's a Good Day" because we ran at the KJ. So I was like, oh, fucked around and called it triple double. I was like, are we Isleys or we Cube? Where we at?
They timed the music perfectly with whatever was happening in the scene. So like, even when they had that Kendrick drop, I was like, yes. Like I was like,
okay.
Speaking of Mr. Lamar, if you hear this, could we get a new album? I'm gonna just say that damn was a long time ago, fam. It's still riding, but
I got.
I like some new music, please. But yeah, I really enjoyed the music in this series too. But
it was good. We told you probably enjoyed Eric J.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I was, though.
Did you?
He didn't finish it, so I mean, I don't know if that's the one you want to talk to.
I'm just saying, did you enjoy it?
I don't know if that's
I'm asking the KD
I don't know if now's the time to be taking a victory lap. I mean, I guess it's fine for what it was.
And Ken, you said you weren't.
I'll probably still finish it, like just because I like to finish the stuff that I start. But
and Ken, you said you weren't too excited about it going into it.
Yeah, going into it, I was just like, the only reason why I did watch is because we was doing this. But I wasn't going into it like, oh yeah, this is something I needed to watch. But then like after like the second episode, I was like hooked. I was like, okay, like, this shit is cracking right now. So it just made me more intrigued. Just want to watch.
Did you watch any of the football seasons?
No.
Of Lance Shenshu? No, so this was your first introduction to Lance
I watched
Shenshu.
the one where didn't one of them follow you or something?
Boach Brown.
Oh,
yeah. Like around that time, like when he was stalking you or whatever.
Okay, see.
He went away. Ain't no Joe around here. He went away.
See, you making it bigger than what it was.
I don't know.
Embellishing.
He did slide in the DM.
He slid in the DM.
I mean, if he sends a message, I don't know.
And look, let's move on.
Yo, ma.
I appreciate the follow.
The follow.
Hey, thanks for the follow, sweetie.
Hey,
don't be a stranger.
Beautiful. We gotta roll the L. Beautiful.
No. Okay. All right. So I watched all the Last Chance U's before this one. So like when I heard it was going to be a basketball season, I was pretty excited because I was like, okay, like that's going to be a nice change of pace. And it really was. Like the football was real cool, but this was just a little different. Yeah, basketball is a more intimate sport. Like they even brought that up. Like, have you ever played playground basketball? The things you have to deal with because you have to focus on your game, but there's also somebody in your face, like probably talking about you or like trying to get you out of your game actively. And there's no helmets, like I mentioned before, no pads. There's no barrier between you. Like it's body on body, like it's just a battle of wills. So that's why when they said like basketball doesn't build character, it reveals character. I was like, it's very, very, very true.
And you'll keep fighting through, or you just gonna give up? Like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
But it was also really cool to see that just about all of those sophomores on that team were able to like latch on somewhere else. So I was pretty happy about that. I hope
that's his
that when
end
we get the
game.
next check-in, like everything is cool. Like it didn't surprise me either that KJ ended up at USC. I'm like, yeah, that nigga has some big D1 talent.
I do worry about his position because he's like 6'5", but I ain't see any type of like perimeter game whatsoever. But
and that's what he was working on.
They
towards
mentioned
the
that,
end.
yeah.
So right at the end, him and his dad, he was like, yeah. So what are you working? He was like, you gotta get a perimeter game, bro. He's like, we all know you can go in the paint. Like, you ain't shoot a 3. He was like,
not A3.
I think he shot maybe one all season. He was like, I was looking for the 3s. I ain't see shit.
I see.
I ain't shoot one. He was like, man, I don't shit. Maybe one. He like, so he was out there working on his 3, like his little closing.
His little montage.
Yeah. So he was out there working on his 3 and shit.
That was kind of cool too, because it was, I forget which player it was, but it was still COVID stuff. He was like, hey, sometimes you just gotta sneak on these courts, fam.
Malik.
Like, hey.
It was like, you gotta hop a gate.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
It ain't open, but it's open.
Like, you know what I mean? I gotta work on my game. I was like, yeah. I respect that. But it was a nice ending. And I hope that the next season, because they didn't have a season like as we're talking, like this 2021 season, like there was no JUCO ball. So they should be coming back this upcoming year for the 21-22 season. So
but it gotta be a whole new team because like the freshmen would have been sophomores and
Yeah, I was saying Malik went to Central Michigan, and he was. I was looking at his stats. He averaged like 5 points, 5 rebounds a game this season. I was like, okay, but they got him as a junior now. I was on the team. I was like, yeah, he did go to JUCO.
Yeah, they all got some. They got somewhere to go. So I was happy to see that for sure. But yeah, if y'all haven't seen Last Chance U basketball, I would highly recommend it. It's a nice little binge watch. Like if you like basketball, if you have an interest in just human like interest stories, like it checks some boxes. It checks some boxes for sure.
It does.
Y'all have any closing thoughts on the series before we get up on out of here?
I enjoyed this more than the football one, honestly.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was for me. It was more intimate, but it was a little different. I think Isaiah said it best when he was talking about it. That they didn't focus on the bullshit. They more so focused on like the actual people and the basketball, as opposed to, he said he felt like the football ones felt more so like, okay, the antics and shit kind of played a role into those too. I was like, I can see what you mean, but no, this one is just felt more intimate, like the way. And the coach's faith playing a big part into like the way he viewed his team, talked to his team, ran the team and the program and stuff like that. So, no, I liked it a lot.
Less players to learn too. Less people to learn. The football rosters are huge.
Yeah, like to Tim's point, like I think it was funny. Like it was the one where he was like the spirit of selfishness, like that little prayer. I think it was funny that he's like, "Hey, close that door," and then he started praying. But it's like you on a show that's on Netflix. It's like, are you really trying to hide it? Like I don't get it. Like,
he prayed a lot often, and I appreciated that with him too. I was like, at least he's trying to, he's leading. He's trying to lead the best way he knows how. And
that's all anybody can do.
Yeah, and he tried 110%. Even like I know his family probably felt it, like when he was sitting there trying to watch film and stuff like that, when they were supposed to be having family time and stuff like that. Like I'm sure that's why I said shout out to the wives, because they got that's a lot of hours these dudes is putting in. So they just putting in the rest of the time with the family, and like they ain't got to support him because he's gonna come back home with the work issues, or maybe dejected, or maybe he just exhausted. You exhausted too. So it's like shout out to them for being able to kind of keep everything together as well. Like you gotta have a strong supporting cast. Shit, not just the coaches. Like the assistant coaches was key to Coach Mosley, but their family is key to them to be able to keep operating too. So that's why I liked it a lot. It was just a lot of cogs that was getting a lot of notice and attention, and kind of like, hey, you're not here for no reason. Like you help with a lot of things in this program, like the whole program from top to bottom. So I enjoyed it.
Like that just reminded me of that point where he like kind of lost it in the weight room, and he's like, man, I'm missing my kids' games, like to be here for y'all. Like I'm, like that was the thing that resonated most with me. Is like that's a real sacrifice. Like my kids have games that I would love to be able. Like I took this job to be closer to my family so that I wouldn't miss this stuff, but I'm still missing this stuff because I'm here with y'all after a game, and y'all like pussyfooting around in the weight room. Like,
call me a picture.
Get your lift in, and so we can go home.
Yeah,
get this shit done. Let's go home. I got shit to do.
Like this means way more to. Has way more of an effect on y'all lives going forward than it does on mine. But I'm the one making sacrifices.
Mhm. Yeah. Anybody else have any closing thoughts they want to get out on the show?
No, man, go watch it. It was very enjoyable.
Yes. Looking forward to see. I'm gonna be having to check Eli in the standings, just every so often, just pull it up, see what's going on with him. So I hope they get another season. To be honest with you, like this upcoming season, I would love to have the cameras come back to see what happens with their next season. Because football schools, they got 2, except for the 5th one, the third school. They only got 1 season, but let them get 2. Let's get Coach Mosley 2 seasons.
I want to see that squad that he got coming in, bro. My man said
that's on that Zoom
the
call.
coldest, bro, dog. You got all kind of motherfuckers coming through, dog. I want to see him.
But yeah, that's our little wrap up on Last Chance U, a little Tech Foul Cinema bonus content for y'all. We hope y'all enjoyed it. As always, make sure that y'all check out the main show as well. Dropped every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform. If you don't want to wait until Wednesday, you could always also catch the show live on Tuesdays via the Good News app, radio app. We're live there 6 through 8 p.m. Central Time. So if you're in a different time zone, you figure that out yourself. Do the little math confused gift in your head and catch us on there on Tuesdays. But make sure y'all tune in, subscribe, like, rate, review, all that good stuff that helps the show. And yeah, we're gonna leave it right there. If you want to catch me, or wait, how do I start my outro? What I say?
I'll give you a second. If y'all if y'all see any bit of like sports content that you want to see us review, that you want to hear like our thoughts and stuff on, like please just send it as a suggestion. Like here's the socials that we're about to give. Like just let us know, because like I enjoy doing these things.
I do too.
Even though I had to binge watch 8 hours of 6.5 hours of fucking Netflix content. Yeah, no, like for real, send us in your suggestions, movies, TV shows, whatever.
Yeah, I saw it was like the anniversary of White Man Can't Jump, and I was like, dang, that's Tech Foul Cinema. Like, that was a fun one. So we definitely enjoyed doing this. But as mentioned, socials. If you want to follow me, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On Twitter and Instagram at Camille Monet, CAMILLEMONAE, because
your mom is fancy.
Thank you, good sir.
At Bugs Bear on Twitter.
That's all you get.
God damn.
I forgot that I had to like talk again after my outro, so I started drinking my water, and then I was like, oh shoot.
Everyday_gentleman on Instagram. K Harris 216 on Twitter and Snapchat.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. C'est la vie. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. We'll see y'all. We'll hear y'all. We'll be there. Be square. Meet us there. Don't beat me there. Beat me there.
All right, Mosley turning up at the end.
I'm just saying,
right? Coach Mosley.
Make sure y'all do on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday. Every single one of them. 6 to 8.
You got to repeat yourself. He was always repeating himself.
6 to 8. 6 to 8.
Pass it out.
It's funny because like I could tell he was definitely like vamping for like, oh, what am I say next? Just repeat it. Fuck it.
Right. Like it'll come eventually.
It'll come. Listen to Tech Foul. That's how you got to end our episode
6 to 8.
On Tuesday. We need you to be Coach Mosley too.
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Coach Mosley.
Catch y'all later.